A replay of the final moments of the descent of the Soyuz TMA-14 shot by the search and recovery teams from one of the lead helicopters at the landing site. You should be able to see just an instant before touchdown the puff of smoke from the braking rockets, the soft landing engines that help to slow the Soyuz down. You can see from its lateral movement that the Soyuz incurred some wind, which is typical for this time of year on the steppe of Kazakhstan. Again, a replay of the landing of the Soyuz TMA-14 spacecraft that occurred at 11:32 p.m. Central Time, 10:32 a.m. Kazakhstan time on Sunday morning. And at this point, the Soyuz would have landed. It was just out of the field of view. The porthole windows on those Russian Mi-8 helicopters are very narrow. And there you see the helicopter, the very first helicopter landing just seconds after the touchdown of the Soyuz. The wind carried the Soyuz off as it rolled onto its side, which is very typical. These are technicians from RSC Energia, the initial team that lands right after the touchdown of the capsule. Essentially, they're rolling the capsule now to the correct orientation for the opening of the hatch to begin the extraction of the crew. A Russian Orthodox priest at the landing site. This is part of the Russian tradition to greet the crew as they are extracted from the Soyuz spacecraft. Again, Gennady Padalka finishing an apple and some tea in the chilly temperatures of a Sunday morning on the steppe of Kazakhstan. And you can see Guy Laliberté with his signature red clown nose seated in his reclining chair at the landing site, having been extracted. All the crew members now out of the Soyuz vehicle. And there's a Canadian spaceflight participant, Guy Laliberté, being attended to by flight surgeon Richard Jennings.
Commentator break. We have. Can hear what you're saying.
And at the landing site, NASA Public Affairs Officer Josh Byerly, who has landed in one of the Russian Mi-8 helicopters. Josh, give us a look at what's happening at the landing site.
Well, Rob, as you can see, they just pulled out the Liberté out of the capsule just a couple of minutes ago. Gennady Padalka was pulled out first, and then Mike Barrett. The crew seems to be doing very well. We talked to Ed Powers, the flight surgeon for Mike Barrett. He says that Mike is in very good shape, so are the other two crew members, and as you can probably tell by the video that you're seeing, it's quite a windy day out here in Kazakhstan. It's also quite chilly, so the crew is getting a very cold and brisk welcome back to Earth as they land this morning here in Kazakhstan.
Josh, it appeared as if the crew landed very close to the targeted point and that they were extracted fairly quickly. How did the operation look to you?
Good. You know, we were in one of the first helicopters that actually landed. The ATV, which are the all-terrain vehicles that come out here ahead of time. They were already here when we landed, but we landed ahead of the rest of the NASA delegation. The first two crew members had already been pulled out by the time we got here. So the operations here are progressing pretty much on schedule, and everything here looking very smooth.
We were trained in on Gennady Padalka. We saw Mike Barrett, of course, carried in his reclining chair. Did he have anything to say that was within earshot of you?
Actually, all three crew members are talking with one another right now. They're also talking with their flight doctors as well. But right after we got here, the rest of the NASA delegation, including Joel Montalbano, who is the person that runs our operations here in Russia, as well as Kirk Shireman, the deputy station program manager, as well as Sonny Williams, herself an astronaut, all gathered up there welcoming Mike Barrett back. Mike, of course, saying it's very good to get back. I think that he's going to be talking with his wife very shortly. She's in Moscow, so he'll be able to reach out and talk to his family here in a few minutes. So we'll see if we can lean in on that.
Josh Byerly, NASA Public Affairs Officer, supervising all of our activities at the landing site. Along with him, Bill Ingalls, NASA still photographer from NASA headquarters in Washington. The crew will probably remain in their reclining chairs there at the side of the capsule for a few more minutes before they are carried into the medical tent to have their Sokol launch and entry suits removed. It will be about an hour and a half or so from the time of touchdown till the time that they are back in respective helicopters to go wheels up for an hour and 45-minute ride in the helicopters to Kustanai, Kazakhstan.
I can't hear you until you take it.
And now the crew members are being carried by the search and recovery forces to the medical tent. You can see a good view of how desolate the area is, and now a good view of the Soyuz TMA-14 capsule. You've got a quick glimpse of Kirk Shireman, the deputy program manager for the International Space Station program. And that is, again, Guy La Liberté being brought to the medical tent along with Padalka and Mike Barrett so that they can be attended to. You can see the orange tent there, an inflatable tent that is the first piece of equipment that is set up by the technicians who arrive in the very first helicopter at the landing site. And the chute, the main parachute being gathered up by technicians from RSC Energia. A good panoramic view of the all-terrain vehicles and 3 of the Russian Mi-8 helicopters that landed a short time ago to begin the extraction of the crew those all-terrain vehicles will pull up to the side of the medical tent about 35 minutes from now to accept the 3 crew members and provide them a short ride to their respective helicopters for the flight to Kustanay, Kazakhstan.